As Donald Trump continues to ramp up military use within the United States, not only in D.C. and L.A., but now targeting Chicago, we have a breaking news story coming from the New York Times that further obliterates this dumb peace president narrative. Even the no new wars narrative is incredibly, incredibly offensive. It's offensive to our intelligence to try to claim that Trump has ended 7 wars in 7 months, and then you name tangential wars that Trump had nothing to do with, that weren't even wars. There would be like one bullet fired from one country to another, and then Trump makes a phone call and claims he is the peace president. It is all offensive to the American people's intelligence. But this story that just came out of the New York Times is wild. It's titled, How a Top Secret SEAL Team 6 Mission into North Korea Fell Apart. This was a 2019 operation greenlit by Trump, and it left unarmed North Koreans dead. Not military personnel, just fishermen in North Korea dead. Nobody ever acknowledged it, and I want to break down this New York Times article, but let's just zoom out for a second, because over the past week, we've seen the United States send 10 fighter jets to Puerto Rico for operations targeting drug cartels. This article reads, the U.S. is sending 10 F-35 fighter jets to the Caribbean for operations targeting drug cartels, which the targeting of drug cartels isn't the problem here. Democrats have made it very clear nobody supports drug cartels. Now that that's out of the way, the problem comes with the unilateral striking of people without the authorization of Congress. Congress is required for any sort of strike or act of war or anything in that regard. It's written into the Constitution, yet Donald Trump is not only sending F-35 fighter jets to the Caribbean, but he actually struck and killed 11 people in an alleged drug boat from Venezuela. There is a major, major problem here. A lot of major problems. First of all, drug cartels need to be minimized by any means, but there are actual international rules we have to follow. There's due process that is provided to even drug dealers. Even people in the cartel cannot just be killed unilaterally because the president orders it and there's no investigation, no due process. Are these people actually drug dealers? Nobody knows. We don't know because Trump struck first and asked questions later. Now, a lot of Republicans, a lot of conservative commentators, people like Tim Pool, will constantly bring up Obama drone striking people back in 2011, 2012, and a few things. First of all, I'm not going to defend that. Obama unilaterally drone striking people is also bad. People deserve due process, and you have to go through Congress. But with Obama, it was even slightly different. I mean, the context of the way that Obama used the military was slightly different. For example, Obama wasn't actively renaming the Department of Defense or the Pentagon to the, quote, Department of War. Obama wasn't being sued by DC and LA for deploying the military illegally. And Obama, when he did these drone strikes, again, the context was different, and I won't defend them at all, but the argument the Obama administration made was that this was in the purview of the President of the United States because he was protecting U.S. personnel over in the Middle East while we were still deployed. What Donald Trump is doing is just randomly striking, and listen to this, as John Jackson points out, he links this New York Times article that talks about the Venezuela strikes. It says, Pentagon officials were still working Wednesday on what legal authority they would tell the public was used to back up the extraordinary strike in international waters. This is uniquely unprecedented. On Tuesday, Trump then just said on social media that 11 members of Tren de Aragua were killed in the strike. And there's no way you can go to a conservative and like argue with this because they'll say, why do you love cartels? This is what conservatives effing do all the time. They'll be like, why do liberals love to defend cartels? This is starting with the presupposition that these people were cartel members, which hasn't been demonstrated. There hasn't been a court case. They haven't gotten any sort of due process. And listen, if they were cartel members, it'd be a different conversation. But they still deserve due process, and you can't just unilaterally strike. Mr. Trump's post was accompanied by a video of what appeared to be a speedboat cutting through the water with a number of people on board. An explosion then appears to blow it up. Congress has not authorized any armed conflict against Tren de Aragua or Venezuela, and several legal experts said they're unaware of the precedent for claiming self-defense as a basis for targeting drug trafficking suspects with lethal force. John Jackson points out that's not how it works in the first paragraph. When it says Pentagon officials are still working Wednesday to see what legal authority, how is the Pentagon still working to make up a legal rationale for slaughtering 11 people 1,500 miles from America after the fact? You can't do this after they're dead. It's murder to make up a rationale after they're dead. He says, even now, days after killing 11 people in international waters, neither Trump nor the Pentagon has provided a legal clear justification for the strike. Justin Amash says Congress has not authorized military hostilities against Venezuela. There's no exception permitting unilateral action because it's drugs or terrorism or a designated organization. The peace president strikes again, and that's what I want to keep returning to. Donald Trump is not the peace president. The quote-unquote peace president has renamed the Department of Defense, or the Pentagon, to the Department of War. The quote-unquote peace president has allowed thousands of Ukrainians to get slaughtered while he just places undue pressure on Zelensky. Over and over places undue pressure on Zelensky. This brings me to this botched SEAL Team 6 mission into North Korea. Remember, this is the guy who claims to be the peace president. He claims that he was incredibly peaceful during his first term. He prevented escalation. Listen to this. How a top-secret SEAL Team 6 mission into North Korea fell apart. The 2019 operation, greenlit by Donald Trump, sought a strategic edge. It left unarmed North Koreans dead. For the audio listeners, this is a New York Times article that we are about to read. For people on YouTube, make sure you're subscribed to the Adam Mockler feed, and it would mean the world if you go leave a 5-star review over on Spotify, Apple Music, iTunes. We're building this ecosystem, whether the MAGA ecosystem likes it or not. We are going to keep pushing. But, okay, listen to this. A group of Navy SEALs emerged from the ink-black ocean on a winter night in early 2019 and crept to a rocky shore in North Korea. They were on a top-secret mission so complex and consequential that everything had to go exactly right. The objective was to plant an electronic device that would let the United States intercept the communications of North Korea's reclusive leader, Kim Jong-un, amid high-level nuclear talks with Donald Trump. The mission had the potential to provide the United States with a stream of valuable intelligence, but it meant putting American commandos on North Korean soil, a move that, if detected, not only could sink negotiations, but could also lead to a hostage crisis or an escalating conflict with a nuclear-armed foe. I just want to back up for 1 second and remind the viewers that Donald Trump met with Kim Jong-un in his first term. He stepped foot on North Korean soil, met with Kim Jong-un, and a lot of experts argue that this only legitimized Kim Jong-un on the global stage. This only legitimized a failing regime and elevated it to the status, or I guess you could argue it, de-elevated the United States. It brought it down a few pegs, just like welcoming Vladimir Putin did. For the operation, the military chose SEAL Team 6's Red Squadron, the same unit that killed Osama bin Laden. The SEALs rehearsed for months, and this situation was so risky that it required the president's direct approval. The SEALs rehearsed, aware that every move needed to be perfect, but when they reached what they thought was a deserted shore that night, wearing black wetsuits and night vision goggles, the mission swiftly unraveled. A North Korean boat appeared out of the dark. Flashlights from the bow swept over the water. Fearing that they had been spotted, the SEALs opened fire. Within seconds, everyone on the North Korean boat was dead. The SEALs retreated into the sea without planting the listening device. It was a failed operation. The 2019 operation had never been publicly acknowledged or even hinted at by the United States or North Korea. The details remain classified and are being reported here for the first time. The Trump admin did not notify key members of Congress who oversee intelligence operations before or after the mission. The lack of notification may have violated the law, and the White House declined to comment. This account is based on interviews with 24 people, including civilian government officials, members of the first Trump admin, current and former military personnel with knowledge of the mission. All of them spoke on the condition of anonymity because of the mission's classified status, and reportedly all of them had matching stories. They all knew the exact same story. Several of the people said they were discussing details about the mission because they were concerned that special operation failures are hidden by government secrecy. So I said this at the beginning of the video, but this is not a peace president. Donald Trump tries to brand himself as very different from George W. Bush, who I was too young to experience the administration of, but with all the research I've done, there was very clear military secrecy. Donald Trump likes to brand himself as different from that, a different type of Republican, but he's not. He is the exact same. He is more insidious because he's more dumb and narcissistic. He's driven by these primal urges, and they hide everything. They cover everything up. We need to know what else they're covering up beyond the Epstein files, beyond these strikes, beyond potential health problems with Donald Trump, and the fact that we almost escalated into a conflict with North Korea and then just hit it. This is absolutely absurd, and the public needs to know about this. If you appreciate these videos we make, all that I ask is that you drop a like below. Make sure you subscribe. Double check to make sure you're following the Adam Mockler feed over on Instagram, just at Adam Mockler. We have one on Facebook that's growing, on YouTube. We're growing everywhere, and it's important we continue to push back. We need your help, so thank you all. I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.